Alright, so let's just get straight to the point. Some of the smartest people I know are still stuck. And what do I mean by that? They they went to the best schools, the Ivy Leagues, top 10 universities, top 30 universities, got the best jobs, got master's degrees, doctorates, PhDs, went to the best business schools, signed up to work on Wall Street, working at the best firms you could possibly imagine. Maybe it's your dream job at this point. But when I talk to them, they've been telling me that they still feel stuck, right? And reason being is that even though they did everything right, they checked off all the boxes, they're quote unquote financially responsible, there's no growth in their career and or their life, right? It's still 7 6 5 6 7 days a week doing the same thing in and out with no real forward momentum. And I'm bringing this video up, or I'm making this video because it was confusing to hear that. How can somebody who did everything that society said that they should do, everything that their parents said that they should do, is still not in a position of freedom, choice, or security, right? So when I started to realize why this is happening, after cross-referencing and talking to a few different people, I actually couldn't unsee it anymore. And the biggest reason is because intelligence doesn't equal success. Success has always been defined by, but more apparently so in this economy, in this world that we're living in today, by the vehicle that you're in. You could be in quote unquote the best job according to the system standards, but you're still stuck because you could be an A player in on a C team. You could be an A player, A driver in a C vehicle. And so you can only go as far as that vehicle allows. Right? You're working 9 to 5. You're capped at a specific salary. But what doesn't get capped is taxes. What doesn't get capped is inflation, right? Expenses. Every single thing is going up and up and up and up. But yet the wages have not been increased for the past 20, 30, 40 years. And so the quality and the cost of life is increasing, but what you are earning as an A player, as a high performer, as somebody that did everything right and knows that they deserve better, is not going up. And so the reason that a lot of people find themselves in this position is, again, it's because they weren't around the right people. In today's day and age, more so now than ever, success doesn't come down to what you know. It is more and more and more, especially in the age of AI and technology. It's about who you know, who you're around, and how you're able to leverage the resources and the people in your environment. Now, what I've been doing is been working full force in education, right? Supporting both kids and adults to be able to, one, fundamentally transform the way that they approach learning so that they don't have to be tied down to the system standards, right? They don't have to be tied down to traditional modes and methods of education that are putting people in the position that they're in now of lack and struggle, even if they did the right things. Now, within that comes being around the right people, because what you learn is one thing, but who you're around when you're learning it, how you learned it, who you learned it from, is vastly more important. And so I'm also bringing this up because when I used to travel a lot, still do travel from time to time, but when I was a little bit younger, right at college, I would travel a lot. And one of the places I traveled in, lived in, was China. So I was in China. I lived in the city, right? Beijing, big city. But I spent some time outside the city, between villages, checking out what the rest of the country looked like. And there was some time I spent in a village, maybe about 5 hours outside of the city during a couple months one winter. And while I was in that village, there in that environment, there was no modern technology, no modern resources, right? There was no DoorDash, no Uber Eats, barely had a market, right? Maybe once a week there was a market where you could get fresh food or shop, right? And so during my time there, in order for me to survive, I had to learn how to fish. And this is a big deal and was a big deal for me at the time because, even though I went to university, I went to college, I thought I was pretty smart. I did okay. But in those moments, I realized that there's a big difference between doing well in university, doing well in school, and doing well in life, right? Standing at the edge of the pond, at the edge of the lake, it didn't really matter what grades I got, what applications I sent. What mattered for me to survive, for me to live in that moment, was how well could I learn the skill of fishing, and how well could I absorb the information from the people around me who were trying to support me, educate me, and teach me in that village. All right, and so now extrapolating that to wherever you're at right now in your life, what matters most is not how smart you are or how smart you were, how well you did. What matters most is how are you reinventing yourself right now? How are you learning right now? How are you growing right now? And even beyond that, who is around you right now? So I make these videos to document what the journey I'm taking is. The journey I'm going through is to change my community, to change the people around me, to support them and us all to come together to allocate our resources, pull our education, pull our talents, so that despite where the world is going, despite where the economy is going, we can have a marketable change within our own lives, our community, and eventually extrapolate that to the bigger pool. But the message here is get around the right people, be around people who see where the world is going and actually are proposing real solutions to change that. And I bring this up because a lot of people think that AI is going to change their world, their life for the better. But at the end of the day, AI is just a tool. It's about the person, the human, you, who is wielding that tool and how well you can wield that to your advantage to be able to create the life that you want to and that you deserve to live. So, all in all, if any of this resonates with you, you can reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about these points. Let's talk about how talented you are or you should be, but aren't quite hitting your full capacity, your full potential. And let's see if we can get you around the right people, because people I'm around, our mission is to support those who want to be supported and who want to have more out of life and see that they can do more, but aren't quite there yet. There's maybe one or two screws missing. So let's chat, and looking forward to seeing you as this journey continues. We'll talk soon.